Today, we're going to completely tear down the reason most of your big goals fail. And look, it's not about how hard you work. It's about the data you're tracking. I'm going to give you a system that actually, scientifically, guarantees you hit your target. Let's dive in. Yeah, you heard that right. The real problem isn't your hustle. It's your dashboard. You are measuring the past. We're going to show you how to measure the future. And this isn't about more motivation or more willpower or some vague mindset hack. Nope, this is about math. It's about making a very precise, almost surgical shift in your focus to two specific metrics that give you predictability and ultimately total control over the outcome. So here's the game plan for this masterclass. First, we're going to expose this huge flaw in how we measure things, called the measurement paradox. Then we'll diagnose the anxiety-inducing trap that it creates. After that, it's all about the solution, the lag versus lead system, the powerful psychology that makes it work, a super simple 3-step way to implement it, and finally, how to truly master the score. All right, let's kick things off with the fundamental flaw in how pretty much everyone tracks their progress. It's this paradox that, and I'm serious here, once you see it, you will never be able to unsee it. It's going to change how you look at every single one of your goals. Here it is, the critical insight. Every result you obsess over, your weight on the scale this morning, your company's revenue last quarter, your final grade on that exam, it's all ancient history. It's an outcome. It's a data point telling you what already happened. And while that's fine for learning, it's totally useless for controlling what you do in this exact moment. Trying to manage your goals by watching these numbers is like driving a car by only staring in the rearview mirror. Sure, it shows you where you've been, but it gives you zero control over where you're going next. Now, this paradox, it's not just some interesting idea. It creates this vicious, totally draining cycle in our lives, both at work and at home. And this cycle actually has a name, the reactive management trap. Reactive management. You know that feeling, right? The feeling of constantly being behind, always reacting to bad news. It's that shot of anxiety you get when you see a low sales number, or that sinking feeling when you step on the scale and nothing's changed. Because you're pouring all your mental energy into results you can't change right now, you end up feeling powerless. You're always putting out fires instead of preventing them. And let's be really clear about this. This is a system problem, a flaw in the process, not some personal failure on your part. This really lays out the two choices you have. On the left, if you focus on the lag, the outcome, you get anxiety. You're always reacting to old news, and it just eats away at your self-efficacy. You know, your real belief that you can actually win. But just look at the path on the right. When you shift your focus to the lead, the inputs you can actually control, the entire game flips. You feel in command. Your actions start to predict the future, like you've got a crystal ball for your own success. And your confidence, your belief in your own power, it just builds with every single action you take. So how do we get out of that anxious state on the left and become that confident person on the right? Well, you need a system, a really precise, data-driven framework to pull you out of that reactive trap for good. And that's the lag versus lead system. First things first, let's get our terms straight. A lag measure, that's the goal. It's the big, important result you want. Lose 20 pounds, increase sales by 10%, or reduce debt by 15%. All of these are perfect lag measures. The key thing, the absolute key, is that they lag behind your actions. They are the scoreboard, and you cannot, in this very second, just will the scoreboard to change. It's just a report of what already happened. Now, in complete contrast, the lead measure is the driver. This is where all the power is. A lead measure isn't the goal itself, it's the critical action that predicts and drives the goal. So if your lag measure is reduce debt by 15%, a really powerful lead measure could be track 100% of discretionary spending daily. Ask yourself, can you do that right now? Yes. Does doing that predict your debt will go down? You bet it does. It's the one lever you can actually pull. This right here is the golden rule. It is the non-negotiable two-part test for any great lead measure. It has to be both. First, is it predictive? Meaning, if you do this thing, will the lag measure also inevitably move? And second, is it 100% controllable by you? Not 80%, not kinda, sorta, 100%. Make 20 sales calls a day is a perfect lead measure. Close 3 deals a day? Nope, that's not a lead measure. Why? Because you don't control if the customer says yes. That's a lag measure pretending to be an input. Okay, so we've covered the what of the system. Now let's get into the why. Why is this simple little shift in focus so incredibly powerful? Well, it's not just about tracking better data. It's about hacking our own brain chemistry and using our core psychological drivers to our own advantage. This system works because it taps into three incredibly powerful psychological forces. First, it puts you back in the driver's seat by strengthening what psychologists call your locus of control. Second, it short-circuits that self-sabotaging part of our brain that always prioritizes short-term rewards over long-term goals. And third, it forces you to do only the most important things, which massively sharpens your focus. Let's just spend a minute on this idea of temporal discounting. It's a fancy name for a simple and frankly frustrating human truth. Our brains are wired to want rewards right now, not later. A donut today feels way more valuable than being healthy in 6 months. That big payoff from our lag measure, it just feels so abstract and far away. And that makes it almost impossible to stay motivated day after day. This is exactly why so many New Year's resolutions are dead by February. The future reward just can't compete with the discomfort of right now. So how do we fight our own brains? Well, we don't. We trick them. We create a whole new game. We call it the dopamine substitution loop. Instead of waiting months for that big reward, we give ourselves a small, satisfying one every single day. Step 1, you do and track your daily lead measure. You make those 20 sales calls. Step 2, you check the box. And that simple act gives you an immediate, small win, a little hit of dopamine that tells your brain, hey, we did a good thing. Step 3, that daily reward reinforces the behavior, making you want to do it again. Step 4, this daily loop keeps you motivated long enough for the big goal, the lag measure, to finally show up. And you know what? This daily loop directly builds up your locus of control. Every single time you hit your lead measure and check that box, you send an undeniable signal to your brain. I did what I said I would do. I am in control. This isn't just about positive thinking. This is hard proof of your own power. And that's what builds the deep, resilient confidence that you need to push through when things inevitably get tough. Okay, enough theory and psychology. That was the foundation. Now it's time to get our hands dirty and actually build the house. Here is the dead simple 3-step protocol to put this into action like today. Here it is, the protocol. 3 simple, non-negotiable steps. Step 1, define the lag. You have to get brutally clear on the one result you want, the ultimate score, from X to Y by Z date. Step 2, reverse engineer the lead. This is the strategic part. You have to ask the critical question. What's the one daily or weekly action that if I do it consistently, makes my goal inevitable? And step 3, build the firewall. This is the system you create to protect that critical daily action from the chaos of life. And this brings us to the absolute core of execution. Your lead measure can't be something you just hope to fit in. It needs a specific, protected, almost sacred slot in your calendar. Time block it. Treat it like the most important meeting of your day, because honestly, it is. This is your daily tracking firewall. It's your defense against the endless stream of emails and distractions. You have to make it absolutely non-negotiable. All right, let's bring this all home. When you stop obsessing over the scoreboard and start mastering the daily actions that create the score, you completely change the game. You stop hoping for success and you start systematically predicting it. Let this one sink in for a second, because it's the single most important lesson from all of this. You cannot influence the score. You can only influence the actions that precede the score. So redirect all of that energy, all of that focus, all of that anxiety away from the scoreboard and onto the ball. Just master your controllable inputs, and I promise you the outputs will take care of themselves. So let's recap. The lag versus lead framework solves that awful problem of reactive management and feeling powerless. And why that matters is because it gives you a systematic way to literally predict and guarantee your success. It works by putting you back in control, focusing you on your inputs. And it keeps you in the game for the long haul by giving you those predictable, small wins every single day. And that's really the final thought here. True productivity isn't about grinding harder or burning out. It's not about doing more. It's about clarity. It's about mastering systems that make focus and execution feel almost effortless. So I'll leave you with just one question to think about. Based on everything we just covered, what is the one crucial, controllable lead measure that you are going to define and start tracking today to guarantee the success of your most important goal?